I went to a singles conference on Friday, and my spirit, while I was there, my spirit told me, no más, por favor. I am not going to no more of these. Okay? That rhymed, period. I'm not going to anymore. And here's why. So
Why?
that singles event was cool because they actually had a mix and mingle session at the end where they put us in a very cool atmosphere for people to talk and meet with each other.
Okay.
Although there was like 3 men there and 300 women, I loved the fact that they did that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, we're not going to skip over that. 3 men and 300 women sounds about right. Not surprising at all because they know the quality of women. We're talking about Christian women here in most likely feminist leaning churches, surprised that no men want to show up to singles conferences. Why? Because the idea is that they lead to marriage and they just know most of these chicks aren't marriage material. Let's keep listening.
Really cool. But my thing is, you go to one single event, you go to them all. They got the same message, and I'm going to tell y'all what they be saying so that you can know ahead of time.
Okay.
If you feel like you're called to go, go. If you feel like the Lord is telling you to go, go. If you've never been, go. If you want to mix and mingle with other single people, go. But let me tell you, this is going to be the singles conference starter pack. I'm going to tell you what you're going to get. Okay? In no particular order. Enjoy your singleness. They are going to compare singleness in so many ways to an amusement park. You should be having the time of your life, okay? Being single, all right? It is just a season, whether it's been 10, 20, or 25 years.
That's a long season. Sounds like a sentence to me, a life sentence.
It is just a season. That's what they're going to tell you. You aren't ready. In so many words, they're going to tell you, you may or may not be ready. You may need more healing, more therapy, more this, more that. Get your money up, whatever they're going to tell you. Your person may not be ready. He may not have been released from whatever it is the Lord is doing. So the Lord is still pruning him or her wherever they are on planet Earth. We don't know. And what time they're showing up, we don't know. But you may not be ready, and they may not be ready.
Interesting.
There's going to be a married person at these events that is going to tell you, when I was single, I took it for granted. That's what they're going to say. And they're going to tell you so much that you need to enjoy your solitude, enjoy your time. Why? Because you have more time to dedicate to the Lord. And that is very true. But they're going to tell you this at every single singles conference. And that married person is going to almost make it seem like they missed their alone time in so many words, okay? Wait on the Lord is going to be played ad nauseum. And I love Wait on the Lord.
Wait, so you're telling me the married, who most likely is a chick, or a pandering male, the Devon Franklins, or the other guy, I forget his name, but he was interviewing the shy and bright lady. You're going to tell me that they're sitting there sounding like they miss being single and they're telling you to wait. And you're thinking, okay, well, I know the messages and I'm doing that, so I'm not going to attend. You're not thinking that they're lying to you. You're not thinking that if you want a drastic change to your dating life, you're going to have to make drastic changes in your personal life. Let's keep listening.
That song hits me right here for reasons. But they're going to play it ad nauseum. And the overall theme of a singles conference is wait. Wait. Hold on. Almost hit me say wait. Okay? Single panels. There's going to be a single panel. It's going to be single women. And it is going to be some particular woman is going to be almost 50 and she looks 30. That's always the case. And then there is going to be men of a certain age that are not married, but they are not single. Just let me let you know, they're probably not single.
Clapping cheeks.
Now, obviously, I can't speak for every single panel, but they're going to be talking about worldly things. And I get it because the dating pool out here is crazy. So, and they're going to sprinkle in the culture stuff. But those men on that panel probably have a baby and probably have a girlfriend. They're not single.
Or 2 or 3. Oh, man, they run through these chicks in the church. The men that pander have got crazy rotations in the church.
They're not married in their 30s. Anywho, steward your singleness well. Get your money up. Focus on you. Focus on your purpose. Focus on what the Lord called you to do. Steward, harvest, sow, and what am I trying to say? Sow and reap? Yes. And then of course they're gonna beat you over the head with Paul, okay? Because Paul is the GOAT in this department, and he's not wrong. A lot of this stuff is not wrong. It's just beat you're gonna get the same regurgitation of information, okay? Jesus was single. Well, duh, because he was the Messiah sent to save humanity. So of course he's single. That one I'm sick of hearing. Okay? Okay. Now that is the little single conference starter pack that you will get. Um, Tell me in the comments what I missed, because I know there's more.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right. Now, where I disagree is that stuff is true. I think too many Christians do too much waiting and not enough action. Doesn't matter what it is. This is a general thing I've observed growing up in the church, someone who identifies as being Christian, waiting on the Lord to bring me a job, not applying for, they don't exercise the free will that God has given them. Waiting on the Lord to give me inspiration for a business, waiting on the Lord to send some money somewhere to drop from the sky, but you have two hands and you have 2 feet. Waiting on the Lord to bring me a husband. There will be a husband who will be able to deal with all that I come with to the table, and I won't have to compromise anything. If you have something that you want done in this life, God will not, and this goes beyond dating and relationships, God will not help you with what he's given you the power to do yourself. What do I mean? You have to do, there's a whole lot of scripture on this too. It talks about the sluggard. It tells you to observe the ant. Ants never stop working. You need to do the work. And also, you need to stop listening to panderers within churches. That's what I've observed. And it's getting worse. I mean, when I was in church, there were a lot of single chicks, but it seems like it's getting worse. We're going to read a few comments here. And of course, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Top comment here says, I keep hearing this. It seems like men are okay with being single if they are not showing up to these events. I heard the clubs are getting low too. So this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, right? The chick who says that she's wifey material and claims to be Christian. It's not me saying that I've never been to a club or that I'm, better than people that go to clubs. It's not what it is. But I'm saying if you're going to the club looking for a husband and you're also going to church looking for a husband, that's the mentality of the modern woman and even the Christian modern woman. But this is true. I want you to notice she says, it seems like men are okay with being single. This may be contrary to what people say, because the question is, what about this lonely epidemic that we keep on hearing that men are going through? Is this not a solution to that problem? Don't they want to solve that problem of this loneliness that men are going through? This is also an answer you can find in scripture. And just to make sure I'm quoting this right, because last time I kind of butchered it, I'm going to ask Miss Coffee to find that scripture for us. Miss Coffee, what's the scripture that talks about a man who would rather pretty much be alone, lonely, in misery, than to be trapped in a house with a contentious, difficult modern woman?
You're most likely thinking of a passage from the book of Proverbs, which repeatedly uses imagery to show that it's better to live in less than ideal conditions than to share a house with a contentious or quarrelsome spouse. Here are 2 commonly cited verses in the King James Version that convey this idea. Proverbs 21:9, KJV, it is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house.
Brawling woman. Brawling woman. That means you like to fight. That means you like to fight. You're ready for a broad. At any second. Does this properly define the women of today? It's just a question. Drink the coffee.
Drink
It's
the
just a
coffee,
question.
it'll make you feel
I'm
better.
just the guy who serves the coffee. Don't be mad at me.
Proverbs 21:19, KJV, is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and an angry woman.
I didn't even know there's 2 verses. There's 2. In Proverbs 21:9 and Proverbs 21:19, it's better. The second one says it's better to dwell in the wilderness, stuck in the wilderness, no water, dry, trapped, stranded, than with a contentious woman.
These verses illustrate the wisdom teaching that strife and constant conflict in the home can be worse than enduring discomfort or isolation. Different translations use slightly varied.
Do you guys hear that? Strife and constant conflict in the home, especially as a man. Why? Because a man, if you're going to take the Bible seriously, is supposed to love his wife. Yes, treat your wife wonderfully, amazingly, care for her, love her, right? Be loyal to her. And where you make mistakes, hopefully she can repay you with kindness and forgiveness. Yeah. But this says strife and conflict in the home can be worse than enduring discomfort or isolation. And that there defines why men would rather be isolated and lonely than be out here fighting you women in their household while you're pretending to be a wife.
Wording, quarrelsome wife, nagging wife, or brawling woman, but the essence remains the same. The writer of Proverbs warns that peace of mind is more valuable than the material comfort of sharing a household full of conflict.
Wow. Thank you, Miss Coffee. Very beautifully and clearly stated. We really appreciate that word. Here's someone else who says, you're not lonely, you're hidden. Is gonna end up in here too. That's right. God's hiding you, saving you for somebody special. Now, does God hide people? Yeah, he does. Does God have plans for your life? Yeah, he has plans for your life. But I think too many people don't think they have to do anything on their end. I'm somebody who definitely believes in God. I believe that God helped me secure the lovely wife, beautiful wife I have in my life. Now, here's another comment that says, the person leading the singles conference is going to act like they understand the pain of waiting, but they met their husband/wife at 19, have been married 30 years. Here's someone else who responded back and said, it's like it's a comedy show to the married folks. They sit there, they're just laughing. Someone else who says, exactly, talking about enjoy your single season. You got married at 22. You've always had someone. Try experiencing real adult problems at 30 alone. Here's someone else who says, as a 43-year-old who has never been married, but been praying for decades, all church single events are a waste of time. I wish they would admit they don't have the answers. They're never going to admit that. I don't think I have all the answers, but I'll tell you what I have. I have coffee, and that solves a lot of problems. Here's someone else who says, I knew it was Atlanta. Somebody else who says, I refuse to go to a singles event in Atlanta. Yeah, I've heard a lot of terrible things about single events in Atlanta. So you may be thinking this is an isolated situation, but that's not the case. So there are a few comments that she actually responded to. This one was one of them. This commenter here says, I keep hearing about this. It seems like men are okay with being single. Oh, so this is the comment we read earlier. Okay, they're okay with being single if they are not showing up to these events. I heard the clubs are getting low too. So let's listen.
This is really good, like a great question, because I am very curious about it, except for the club part. I don't care Nathan about no club.
Oh, not good for you.
Why do men not go to singles events? Like, why don't y'all go? The ones in the church, or just like regular single? I don't know. I'm only talking about the ones in the church because those are normally the only ones I go to. But why don't y'all go? And one of my friends was there, and I was surprised to see him at the singles event that I was at. And he was like, oh, I'm only here because my friend told me about it. Like, someone told him about it. That's the only reason why he went. He was like, if someone didn't tell him, he wouldn't have even knew or even came. So do y'all not know about it, or do y'all just not want to go? Like, what is it? Because at the end of the day, y'all the ones who get down and propose to women. So I'm just curious why y'all don't go. But I already feel like y'all got the pick of the litter anyways. Like, y'all don't really need to go. I don't.
Hey, there's some truth to that. To the guys out here who aren't really taking it seriously, and I'm talking about marriage and they don't want something long term, they have the pick of the litter to do what I don't think is healthy to do, which is chase women all day and clap cheeks. And the unfortunate thing are a lot of these chicks are letting them.
I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I'm very curious to know.
All right, so she wants to know, why don't men attend these singles events? Why is it something they do not look forward to? Top commenter here says, and this is a man, he says, no, I don't want to, and also don't really need to. So he doesn't see the desperation, the need to go there. Typically, man, a lot of these singles events are usually filled with men and women who are in very vastly different positions. The men have typically passed that marker of being looked at as somebody who isn't a potential for a long-term relationship that could lead to a marriage. Now they're looking more like a potential. They're past that age 30. What do I mean? When men cross over 30, they gain value, right? They typically are earning more, or they're finally finding their way in life, getting on their feet, finding their true grounding in life. And they're hitting checkpoints. Those men look more attractive to a larger number of women. When they were 25, maybe didn't have as much earning potential, so on and so forth, right? More experience and so on. Women, on the other hand, they hit 30, hitting 31, hitting 32. That sexual market value is steady going downhill with the quickness. Here's somebody else who says many reasons. So this guy's responding back. Why don't we attend singles events? Many reasons. But one reason I think men don't go is because they feel like attending these events makes them look desperate. I think women are less hung up on looking desperate, whether they are or aren't. And somebody else responding back. This is the actual content creator. She asked, "Are you a man?" He didn't respond. I think he probably was. A few more comments here for men. And of course, I want to know what you guys think. Comment down below. Why don't you attend singles events? So this next commenter says, depending on your past experiences, some of these women have done so much damage. We rather be alone than risk losing our peace. We just talked about that. Here's another gentleman who says, those events are tailored to women. And with all the balloon popping videos and what women seem to want from men, it doesn't truly benefit a man to go just to possibly get rejected by 20 women. Now you may be thinking, oh, is he giving up? No. He understands that these chicks are largely single due to their own delusional expectations and standards. Maybe even the exact same chick who's complaining about this and actually presenting the topic in this video. Here's another person here who responded back and says, myself, the reason why I wouldn't go is because a lot of women are seeking 100% complete men. And a lot of us are striving to get there, but women would much rather you come complete than build with you. And we just listened to a wife who talked about how she worked and paid all the bills while she was married for a short period of time. Why? Because she wanted her man to get a better job and he was getting stressed out at the job. You may say, well, he couldn't handle it. No. She encouraged him to do it. Something that when you hear the rhetoric that you see a lot from modern women today, that's not something you would expect them to do. In this next video, the chick responded back to the comment that said, they'll also tell you at these singles events, you're not lonely, you're hidden. And it sounds like they've finally figured out that that's a big fat lie.
Bro, this is one of the biggest ones I forgot. You're hidden. God is hidden you. Did he forget? Look, is God playing hide and seek and forgot to come get me? What are you talking about? How long am I going to be hidden for? This one kills me. And the first time I heard it, I was like, yes, I've been hidden from these losers. And when the right one comes out, he's going to release me and all of this. Sir and ma'am, stop telling me this, okay? Please stop using this. God, I know y'all have played hide and seek before and the person stopped looking for you. I know y'all. This one is too good. I can't believe I forgot this one.
I went to a Christian singles event, and here's why I think we're doomed to be single for the rest of our lives.
She says Christian single women are doomed. Christian single women are doomed. She believes that for the rest of their lives, doomed to be single.
That was a bit dramatic, but let me tell my story.
Let's listen.
So I went to singles night at Union Church's Charlotte campus. Now, I don't go to that church, but I started following Pastor Stephen since he was a guest pastor at my church earlier this month.
Right.
And when I found out that he was writing a book on dating and relationships, I was interested because, listen, your girl could use some divine intervention in that area. But I'll be honest, I didn't want to go at first. I figured it's a Christian singles event. There's going to be 11 women there and like 2 men. Plus, they were advertising it as a conversation that you wouldn't expect to have at church. And I thought, I've heard enough of those modern dating and relationship podcasts. I don't need to hear any more, especially not with a biblical spin.
Mm.
Instead of having meaningful conversations about finding and building Christ-centered relationships, the event was a Q&A about superficial stuff, like mostly whether to settle for someone who does not earn 6 figures. Like that seemed to be the hot topic of the night. People were asking that same question over and over again. And honestly, all that I took from it was that we're focused on the wrong things. You know, as Christians, we're called to be set apart. We're supposed to focus on things like love and faith and character, but we're focused on the same worldly things as everybody else.
So follow me here. This is all going to make sense when I'm finished. What's not being said here is when these discussions are being had, you have a group of single modern women, hungry, just hungry for marriage. And then you have a group of wonderful men. They're just wonderful in every aspect possible. No, just kidding. But you have 2 different types of groups of people. And she says that they can't move away from the talking points about men being economically attractive. My question to you is, who do you think is actually bringing up those conversations? Like, how do you think those conversations are actually coming up? Because I can guarantee you that the last thing men talk about when they're amongst each other, that they even want to talk about in front of women, because it's a highly vulnerable topic, is how much they make. Men are constantly thinking about being a provider for themselves, wanting to take care of people around them, especially the men who actually see themselves in taking pride in maybe helping out with their parents. Maybe they don't have a family yet. Maybe they might have a kid or so. But the last thing men want to do when they get together, unless the context fits that, it's some type of situation where they're talking about increasing earning potential or how they can make more money, so on and so forth. The last thing you want to do is talk about how much money they're not making or how much money they want to make in front of women. Women are the ones who redirect the conversations back to the 6 figures. Men don't want to sit around and say, are you making 6 figures? No, I'm not. Are you making 6 figures? No, I'm not. Even the men who are making that amount of money don't want to sit there and shove that in other men's faces, because they already know what it's like to not be there if that's a goal of yours as a man. So again, I ask you, who's really focused on these issues? It's most likely the modern female Christian feminists in these churches. They're bringing these topics up wherever they go.
Money, status, height. It just feels like we're missing the point when it comes to dating entirely. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that finances don't matter. I think it matters when you're building a life with someone, but we're not even at that level. After the Q&A, there was supposed to be a mixer, but I didn't know what was going on with that. There was no clear direction. We exited the auditorium and we were ushered out into the lobby. You know, people were hanging out, taking pictures, waiting to get their books signed. I saw a couple of church hugs, you know, side hugs, but I don't know that I saw any like actual connecting or like men and women like talking to each other. It's like we can't or we won't even have basic conversations, but we are so concerned about earning potential. We got these bingo cards.
Who's we? Who's we? If you don't know, there was a study done by Cornell University, and they showed that modern women are obsessed with earning potential, usually typically wanting their men to earn like 37 to 58% more than they do. This is what they found out when they sampled a lot of these chicks who were still single. Notice how I did not say these women ideally want to date horizontally, right? That they want men who earn as much as them. As they get older, of course, they want to compromise more. When it comes to that, this is hypergamy, female nature, but you should learn to suppress your nature. If the current economy is not made for single income households. And on top of that, I think a lot of these exaggerated expectations financially really come to social media brainwashing a lot of these chicks.
Words that I'm sure were meant to break the ice, but I don't even know if that was mentioned. The prompts were simple, like, what makes you smile? Or do you have siblings? Just followed on Instagram. But nothing about them seemed like they could spark meaningful conversations or show that someone was set apart or serious about their faith or even dating or like interested in dating. And yes, icebreakers are meant to spark conversation, but it was just so surface level. Like, where was the depth? At an event like this, I would have expected more encouragement to actually show who you are in Christ or to like have meaningful and intentional conversations. Again, we're meant to be set apart, but what was the difference between this and a regular singles mixer? And let me know, because I don't think I've ever been to a regular singles mixer either. And to be clear, I'm not critiquing the pastor. Like,
This is just sad.
even he seemed a little frustrated with the money conversation that kept coming up. Really, I'm talking about
By who?
Christian dating and how things just seem off. This event could have been a great opportunity for people to connect in a meaningful way, but instead, like, it just felt like going through the motions. So I ended up leaving the event. It was late and I wasn't sure what was happening, but now I'm wondering if I missed out on something, because I've seen some clips from the DC version that happened the next day, and it seemed like a whole different vibe. It looked like there was an actual mixer and people were encouraged to actually talk to each other. I saw a clip of the pastor taking a camera from a guy who was probably on the production team. He's asking him, like, do you dance? And then he like pointed him he pointed him in the direction of a woman to like get them to dance. Wonderful. I don't think that happened at Charlotte. At least it didn't happen at the Charlotte event while I was there.
I can almost guarantee you what I think is it probably just had better editors. You know, it's just like the Tonight conversation, right? They show you those highlight clips. This is that exciting. And once you find out that the men who are there pandering to the chicks and leading them astray and were smashing the panel members, people are saying, oh, yeah, and it was boring and it wasn't that great. But it looks real exciting on camera.
But to be fair, I wouldn't count the entire thing as a waste. I got to connect with some amazing Christian women who I'm looking forward to staying in touch with. One of those women actually goes to my church. She sat next to me. Like, we go to the same campus and everything. What are the odds? I also met another woman who goes to the host church, and I would love to visit the church one Sunday and hang out with her. Even though the event missed the mark for me in some ways, I am grateful for those connections. But DC, Charlotte, what was your experience? Did you feel like the event lived up to your expectations? Did you connect with anybody in a meaningful way? Did you play bingo? Well, and for everybody else, well, what do you think?
Let me tell you something. I don't want another suggestion on how single Christian women need to find their man in the church. Baby, the men in the church are married. The men in the church are smart. The men in the church are 5 steps ahead. We can't find our husband in the church since they're married. They're taken. We need a new plan. What is the new plan? We need to ride at dawn. We need a meeting, a society, an organization, something. We need to plan something because, baby, the men in the church are taken. I don't want that advice anymore. I need to go to Lowe's or something.
So she says the men in the church are taken. I don't think a lot of men today trust modern churches. My take, top comment here says, yes, they're all married. And if he is sitting by himself, his wife is greeting a volunteer somewhere in the church. Somebody else here says there are no single men my age going to church on their own. You've got to ask yourself the questions. Why aren't men attending these churches? Why don't men want to go to church and listen to pastors like Devon Franklin, who wrote this book, by the way, called The Wait? who I've actually reported on countless times, caught red-handed, pandering, obsessed with pandering. It is crazy. But one good news I saw is that if you are ready to go to one of these events, you're going to be out here with the pick of the litter.
So I just got back from a singles event at Change Church in Duluth, and this is all I'm gonna say. If you're a single man and you are looking to get into a relationship or date or find a good woman, bro, I haven't seen that many women in one place since I went to a Beyonce concert years ago. I haven't seen that many women in one place since I was on a college campus. It was
Wow.
incredible. I was overwhelmed, overstimulated, but in a good way. Beautiful
This dude was like, they were all mine. Literally, I was the only one there.
women everywhere, bro. Everywhere you turn your head, a gorgeous woman, a
Right.
gorgeous woman, a gorgeous woman. And they're at a church. You feel me? Like this was a Friday night. We're all in a church listening to a sermon. There was praise and worship. They had games at the end of it. It was like one of those old school lock-ins. You know, the lock-ins we used to do when we were teens? It was like that, but we just didn't spend the night. It was phenomenal.
I wanted to spend the night. That's what I really wanted to do. I love how he's making this sound like it's a good thing. On a micro level, when it comes to him, I mean, you could say it's a good thing. Here he has a plethora, like a sea of single modern women to choose from who are not going to settle, not at all, and want you to pay all the bills, no matter the situation you're in. But if you're looking at this from a bigger picture perspective, there's a serious issue when it comes to that particular ratio.
You know, I'm in a moment of reflection right now, so I wasn't really looking to meet anybody. But
He's still taking it
if
in.
I was, it was like a freaking kid in a candy store. Like it was crazy.
This dude showed up to the singles event and wasn't ready to meet anybody. He just showed up to look. He's like, oh man.
Crazy. So shout out to Change Church for an incredible event. If you've never been and you're in Atlanta, definitely stop by for one of their services or one of their events because wow. Y'all know I'm not the most religious guy in the world.
Right.
But I felt so comfortable. I felt so welcomed. It wasn't like I had to walk in there with a suit on and be screaming Jesus' name to be accepted. It was just real regular. We just happened to be at a church. It was dope, man. It was dope.
Let's read a few of these comments, see what people have to say. This top comment says, I attend Change Church and I try to convince my single friends to attend. Somebody else here says, later, dater here, I need to attend. Somebody else here added, I love Change Church. Dang, I wish I would have known about it. All right.
What is up with so many people having children, and as soon as they had these kids, or before these kids is even walking, really, they break it up?
My dumb did that stupid shit. And you know what? It was a huge mistake. At that time, I was very, very masculine, right? My husband, he's my husband now. He's the father of my two kids. But when we first had our first son, I did it and I broke up with him as soon as we had our son. Our son was maybe like 2 weeks old. I did it because the reality is I was filled with so much trauma and I did not value a two-parent household because I never came from one. So I didn't care about it. I felt like the kid would be okay. Like he cool. He don't need no father. I'm the mother and the father.
Damn. I think we're also about to witness a very rare W of a woman here taking accountability.
Being extra as hell, right? I was prepared to do everything on my own. And once you have that baby, not to mention that was both of our first babies together. So I had no idea what postpartum was. He had no idea how to deal with a woman that was going through postpartum, that was emotionally unstable and all over the place. So he just kind of was like, he was done with it. He didn't understand how to deal with it. I didn't understand what the was going through. And I threw in a towel, not him. I threw in a towel. And I actually took his son away from him, talking about, I'm about to do all of this on my own, looking stupid as hell. And he was a good father. He is a good father. He was a good man. That's a good man, Savannah. He's a damn good father, damn good provider. And he wasn't going for that. He was not going for that, y'all. He told me straight up, you're not taking my son away from me. If I got to fight you tooth and nails in the court, I don't give a damn. I will show up he wasn't like no deadbeat. I don't give a fuck about that baby. Fuck who in there. It wasn't like, and the only one that called me out on my bullshit was my sister. She was like, you making a huge mistake doing that.
Wow.
He don't deserve that. That baby don't deserve that. Hell, you don't deserve that. You know what I'm saying? She was the only one that told me, sis, go back and figure it. And with time, you learn each other, you mature, you understand the importance of respect, you understand the importance of love and bringing a child up in a healthy 2-parent house. And last but not least, you might not be compatible. You realize you're not compatible for him, or he might not be compatible for you, and then you both come up with the same lame excuse. Oh, he switched up, she switched up. No, you just didn't take the time out to really get a chance to know each other. You know what I'm saying? So y'all rolled around in the sack, created a life, and don't give a about it. Neither one of y'all don't really give a about it. Now you just bashing each other all over the place, bashing each other on the internet. It's just so immature. So that's my take on it. That's my 2 cents.
Wow. I'm glad she shared that. Mind you, remember, she's answering the question, why are so many people breaking up after they have kids? And she plain out said, I had a good man. He was not a deadbeat. This is a guy who wanted to be involved. And for whatever reason, I'm sure if she looks back, it was some petty fight. She couldn't get her way. And luckily for her, she had somebody in her life that was willing to serve her some coffee. And she was willing, congratulations to her, we got to give her props. She was willing to be accountable. It's never easy. We all have to do it. You have to do it if you're willing to have a relationship with someone else, because you're not perfect. You're going to make mistakes, me included, anybody who's out here. And I think this right here is something that happens more often than not. She got a few comments here, see what people have to say. This top commenter says, appreciate the honesty and accountability. More life to y'all. Somebody else here added, a lot of women don't have a sister like yours. Yeah. Having people in your life who can call you out on your bullshit is very, very much a powerful thing. You need people who can see things from a different perspective around you, because you don't have all the answers, right? And too many people want to live life the way they want to do it, don't want to be told anything at all, don't want to be given any type of guidance. And we all need somebody who can step in. I've had my wife many times, right? She will recognize blind spots and she will help me. That's one of the reasons I appreciate her and respect her opinion and her perspective on life in many, many ways. Somebody else here says it's programming. Another person here added accountability is amazing. Here's someone else who says, and some accountability. Thank you. Someone else here added, Lord, some accountability. Thank you, sis. Here's somebody else who responded back and says, yes, accountability. Yes. Sis, please teach these sisters how to be accountable. Teach these sisters, please. Somebody else here says, on my own, me and child support. So he's going through it. Somebody else who says postpartum is real. Postpartum is a real thing. Somebody else who says, appreciate you sharing your experience. And the final comment we read here says, I really appreciate your accountability. You got to think of just that one decision for her to go back to the father of her children and work things out. Change the trajectory of their child's life. You know, I'm also curious to see what other people had to say about this particular situation. Let's see. I think I found somebody.
Why do couples break up after the baby? How is it that two people that liked and loved each other enough to the point where they were willing to have a child together all of a sudden fall out of love or grow apart once the baby comes? To me, there's a multitude of reasons why people can break up after the baby comes, but there's two main ones that stand out to me. The first reason, I've seen another lady speak on this already, is postpartum depression. Postpartum depression is a monster. And that girl that you fell in love with, that you decided to have children with, she's not going to be there for a minute. The only way you make it through that is just by being supportive to your wife, doing whatever she needs you to do. She's going through something that she can't even explain. So many changes, she doesn't even recognize herself. She's not being lazy. She's literally fighting for her sanity in her life during that moment. So you really just have to be supportive as the husband or the boyfriend. But what happens is a lot of men are just selfish. They're not trying to understand what's going on with her. They're not being supportive. They're only concerned about their needs that aren't being met. So what do? They go out and cheat. And that's the beginning of the end of that relationship. The other way is just as common, and people don't even realize what's happening until it's too late. And that's just simply getting caught up in the rat race of life. Once you have children, your children become the center of your lives and everything revolves around them. And what happens in a lot of cases is you simply just forget about your partner. You don't spend any time with them. A lot of adults spend more time outside of their home with other people than they do with their own families. Most parents have a similar routine if they're working parents. You get up in the morning, you get ready for work, get the kids ready for school. Y'all go off to work in school. You come home, you do whatever you have to do for the kids in the home. And then by the time all of that is done, it's time for bed. If you're not prioritizing at some point during that day time to spend with your partner, your spouse, your husband or wife, eventually the two of you will grow apart.
Something that I've been waiting to hear, and the other lady proved this point, is when people talk about this, I rarely hear marriage. And I bet you if you're to take a case study of the couples who just have kids together, but they don't actually get married, because I believe children deserve both parents in the home, right? If you're gonna be out here creating life, and there's actually studies. I actually showed a video about this that shows that it is different when you commit in a marriage with a child than just being in that household. I bet you that earlier commitment, planning ahead, doesn't always happen this way. I understand. But being intentional about that as a possibility isn't really spoken about much. As always, guys, I'm curious to know what you think. Moving on to our next topic.
Let me tell y'all how I just spent the whole week with the man. Yes, 7 days, got flown out, all expenses paid for, and now we don't even speak. Yeah, it don't make sense. So y'all, I get a random text like, hey, get dressed, pack your bags, I'm finna fly you out. Baby, I thought I made this one of the TikTok girlies. Y'all, I'm already making my vlog like, yeah, multi. Baby, he tell me, you don't even gotta pack nothing for real. We could buy everything new. Everything? Y'all, swear to God, I'm jumping, I'm screaming, I'm so happy, baby. I don't even know what to do with myself. I'm calling my homegirls like, y'all, this the one. Yeah. That extra large, make it a double. Now, y'all, when I get there, baby, he got the whole thing, baby. He looking good. Y'all, he picked me up from the airport, baby. I'm living, okay?
Is that really all it takes for these women to sell their bodies? Because does she realize that this actually is what this is? 7 days, he rented your body out, is what I saw someone comment, and bought you a couple of, pairs of jeans, clothes, and so on and so forth. Is it really that easy?
Now, at this point, I'm already in love. Y'all, we get to the house, baby, feet rub, everything. I'm like, oh, you knew I was stressed on the plane. Now, y'all, when I tell y'all all expenses paid for, I didn't even have my purse this whole trip. The only thing that I had was my ID for the unlimited martinis I was getting, because I'm an elite employee. Now, y'all, me and this man talking about kids. We talking about marriage, baby. We talking about getting a house, baby. We talking about moving. I'm so over head, over heels, baby. The week went by so fast.
Just selling you lies and dreams. You're falling for it. This is.
Now, with the week going by so fast, baby, it's already time for me to go home, which I really didn't, but mama got to come home. Mm-hmm. Now, me coming home, baby, I ain't hear from the man. All right, well, damn. Good thing my plane was good, you know what I'm saying? Because he didn't care. Y'all, it's day number 1. I didn't get a good morning. I didn't get a how you doing. Did you sleep well? Did you eat well? Nothing. So I'm thinking like, okay, maybe he needed a little chill pill. Maybe he didn't want to, he letting me be. Baby, he letting me be for a long time, baby. It's going on week 3. Did you not fall in love with me how I thought you did? Did you sit there and just wanted me for that week?
Yes. I mean, the top comment here says you got rented out. You good. He rented you out for 7 days. We know he clapped the cheeks. We know he did. Right? We know that. You could just tell from the vibe. Any woman who would go and get flown out with just their ID is getting smashed. Here's another female commenter says, baby, that man is in a relationship. And somebody said, no, for real, he was mad at her or something. Or maybe not. Have you guys thought of how easy it must be today for men with means, or just, men with extra cash who save it up for a little bit? They know they can reach out to modern women and entice them, lure them in like cheese to a mouse by claiming that they're going to fly them out, all expenses paid for, really going to spend like 3 or 4K for that 7 days on you. You've never really had that happen in your life, or if you've had, it's only been a couple of times. Why? Because the things that these chicks demand for just aren't realistic. And he's realized this can be the play for almost any girl who lacks high moral compass. Somebody else who says dating is so scary. This is not dating. How many of these chicks are actually prostitutes and they don't know it? And just need to drink the coffee.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Somebody else here added you were the one for that week. Keep moving. Somebody else here says he will come back after next month. Here's another person who says he said he there for a good time, not a long time. Here's somebody else who says, why would he do all that? Why would she be okay with that? This is crazy. Here's somebody else who says, girl, that would scare me to the clinic and go, because, sir, are you cool? Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. These chicks are letting these dudes hit. We're adults. This is an adult channel. Most of these chicks are not using protection, bro. It's a sick, sick world. Was it last month that I reported on the video with the chick who flew out by an NFL player? It was the exact same thing. I may be characterizing this chick wrong, but when I go to her IG page, I'm talking about this chick right here. I mean, it kind of makes sense here. All the signs are there. This is all public. I don't know. And in a few years, she will be ready for marriage. What a world. Check out this comment. This chick says, girl, I done got pregnant. First link, I'm 5 weeks next week. We got to slow down. What? She says, somebody else responded here and says, I hope you're playing. She responded back and says, dead ass. First time having sex in 6 months and got pregnant. 2025, a joke already. All right, we're on her page here.
And to the girlies that keep trying to sell us shit off a TikTok shop, when the app is about to be banned in less than 24 hours, this is crazy. Like,
so you're letting dudes hit raw on the first link and giving them your womb. Remember, guys, I'm toxic, right? You're toxic too, by the way, being subscribed to the coffee pot. My goodness. Moving on, we gotta go. Here we go.
5 years later, I'm still haunted by the words he said when he left me. 5 years ago, I ruined everything. I was engaged to the kindest, most loving man I'd ever known. He was the kind of person who made everyone around him feel cared for, safe, and loved. We were planning our wedding. I thought we were going to spend the rest of our lives together. And then I made the dumbest mistake of my life. I kissed someone else. It was meaningless and I regretted it the moment it happened. The guilt was unbearable. I told him the next day because I couldn't keep it from him. I begged for forgiveness, promised I'd do anything to fix it. But he just looked at me like I'd shattered something deep inside him. He didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just said, it's over, and walked out. Wow. I tried to reach him for weeks. He ignored every call and text. Eventually, I wrote him a long letter apologizing and asking him for one chance to talk. When he finally agreed to meet, I thought maybe, just maybe, we could work through it. We talked about our memories, the good times, the love we shared, all the dreams we had for the future. For a moment, it almost felt like old times. And then I asked him if he could ever forgive me. What he said next has been burned into my brain ever since.
What did he say?
I hear it every single day, word for word, and it plays in my mind like a broken record. I hope someone comes into your life who makes you feel loved and safe just to betray you. I hope you spend every day wondering if the people you trust are lying to you. I hope you never feel secure in love again. I hope even when things seem perfect, there's a part of you that can't shake the doubt. I hope every I love you you hear makes you wonder if they really mean it. And when it all falls apart, when it breaks you, I hope you remember that this is what you gave me. He didn't say it to be cruel.
Whoa.
He wasn't a cruel man. He was the kindest, most selfless person I'd ever known. That's what makes it hurt so much.
This is how villains are made. There are plenty of men out here who've tightened their boundaries in this life by being introduced to just how painful life is. Good men, you know, who got done horribly.
He said it because it was the truth, because that's what I did to him. He got up and left, but his words stayed. They live in my head, echoing constantly. Every night when I try to fall asleep, I hear them again. Every time I feel even a little happy, they come back to remind me that I don't deserve it. I've tried to move on, but I can't. I can't love anyone without doubting them. I can't trust anyone without waiting for the betrayal. Every relationship I've had since has fallen apart because of that fear, that voice in the back of my head telling me it's all going to happen again. I know I did this to myself. I know I might even deserve this, but living with it seems unbearable some days. I still know where he lives. He didn't move out.
Wait, how did she become the victim? I'm like, what?
Of the apartment we used to share. He still works at the same company he did back then. I've kept track of him through mutual friends, though I've never asked him to relay anything back to him. I've watched from a distance as his life went on without me. And now, after all of these years, I'm thinking about going to him one more time to ask for forgiveness, to try and explain myself again, to tell him I've carried the weight of what I did every single day since he walked out. I don't even know what I'm hoping for. Maybe I just want to hear him say he's moved on, that he's happy, or that I can let go of the small, selfish part of me that wonders if he ever thinks about us. Or maybe I'm hoping he'll say he can forgive me, even if it changes nothing. I know I shouldn't. He deserves peace. I know my showing up will only dredge up old wounds, but I don't know how to let go of his words or the fact that I destroyed the only person who ever truly loved me. And then the top comment says, the kindest thing you can do is never to speak to him again.
Agreed. Move on.
Try and move on. Get
That's
therapy,
facts.
girl.
Yeah.
You're going to need it.
Yeah.
Because those words were harsh, though.
Yeah.
I was
Do you know
like,
how shocked I was?
I know.
I was
my
like,
mouth,
yes.
My mouth was
That's it.
open
But you know
for a
what?
minute.
Do you know what?
I think just the fact that she's still trying to reach out, you know, in itself is actually proving that she is not a very good person. You know, at that point, that like, I should leave this person alone. Too many villains, man. Too many villains have been created through a situation very similar. Very similar. Let's read a few of these comments, see what people have to say. Top comment here says, she's lying. Ain't no way it was just a kiss. Yeah. Yeah. God, this is a chick saying this. This is a chick saying this. I think she's lying too. She let that man clap those. She let that man hit. And he knows that. He didn't even want to delve deeper into it. Somebody else here says, even if it was just a kiss, bro did the best thing. Leave. That's it. Somebody else here says, while planning her wedding. Planning her wedding. Planning your wedding and letting another man bust the cheeks is insane. Somebody else here says 100%. And the fact that she still can't be honest just proves she's not truly sorry. Yeah. Just an innocent kiss. Crazy. Somebody else here says her therapist will earn every dollar. Oh, man. Here's someone else who says, bro, live rent-free in her head. You know, I've seen all types of videos. I've seen people who have forgiven cheating. And I think the context always matters, no matter how people like to make things black and white. This is possibly the worst situation. That's the honeymoon part of your relationship. That's the part you're looking at the person and you have the highest hopes, right? Where you're not in it yet. When I say in it yet, it's like it's not mundane, and maybe now you've had your first child, or 3 or 4 life's tragedies within that marriage, right? Life gets real. But that's the part where you're supposed to be, to an extent, an extreme optimist, and that happening can definitely shutter someone's expectations and perspectives on relationships. Here's another comment that says, rule number 1, never do a loyal man dirty. Somebody else here says, I'll never understand how a person can claim to have the best partner they've ever had and then go around and cheat on their amazing partner. Happens all the time. Somebody else here says, I'm sure you have started understanding women. Someone says, we don't value what we have until we no longer have access to it. This is true in some cases. The goal in life is to look ahead and make less of those mistakes in your life, right? Here's somebody else who says, some of you here not holding her accountable. I see most people holding her accountable. What does it say? She doesn't need forgiveness. She needs to forgive herself. Okay. Somebody says, that's a full-blown curse. Here's another person who says, it was a mistake. It was a bad choice. Another person here added, that guy literally put a curse on her, either knowingly or unknowingly. Yeah, that's what it sounded like. Here's somebody else says, that's a real man. That's the right way to handle those type of situations, man. Acting out, crying, being emotional never lends to a situation like this really ending up well. Moving on. Here we go.
I don't care. Take it how you want to take it. But I am currently 14 weeks pregnant. And when my child gets older, I will not be raising my child for them to say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. No, because who are you? Why do I have to tell you, yes, ma'am? Where's the respect? Respect goes both ways. Now, if I call you and I say, hey, come here, I need you to say yes, but you don't have to say yes, ma'am. Like, what type of pedestal? I'm not better than you. I'm not. And then people be like, oh, it's having respect. I can still respect you and not say yes, ma'am. What's the point?
This is why children should not be parents. This is why men are needed and fathers are needed, husbands are needed before you have a child. She's going to raise the next generation right here. Going to raise the next generation of disrespectful young men and women. Her and all the other chicks who think like her. And the men who don't understand this is a problem as well.
Like, I understand if I call you, if I say, hey, come here, or hey, and you say, what? Yeah, no, we're not doing that. What? You can say, huh? You can say yes, but you don't have to say yes, ma'am. You don't say yes, ma'am. Don't say it, because my mother didn't raise me to say yes, ma'am, no, sir. Like, who are you?
So now you are 14 weeks pregnant, no ring on your finger, and ready to be a single mom and continue the cycle. Sounds about right.
And it's crazy because they be like, oh, respect your elders. Do the elders respect us? They be the
And for you who are like, oh, Chisha, she does have a ring. It's on the wrong hand. It's on the wrong hand.
quickest one to judge our generation, the quickest one to degrade us and disrespect us, but want us to say, yes, ma'am. You're crazy. My child will say yes. They will greet you appropriately, but they're not going to say, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. My child will not be saying yes, ma'am, and yes, sir to you.
Let's read a few of these comments. Top comment says, y'all be having marbles for brains. Somebody else who says, I'm worried for us as a society. Yeah, you should be. But at this point, like, there are societal things to worry about. If you're a man today and you have the responsibility, and you're a wife today, you have the responsibility of children, you can worry about your four walls and do your best to govern that area of your life the best that you possibly can. Somebody else here added, the lights are on, but I don't think nobody's home. I'm glad people here aren't co-signing this. There's a growing number of people who are actually sharing the same sentiment. A lot of them are young women, single mothers, and they're actually not just saying that this is unnecessary, but they're actually calling it abuse. Check it out.
There's always something new to learn. Today, I learned that some of the younger generation views saying yes, sir, or yes, ma'am as abuse. No, let me correct that, as a sign of abuse or
Okay.
that someone is being abused. I'm Gen X, and for my family
And for some in my generation, it's viewed as a sign of respect.
So she has comments there. It says, if you had the choice, would you have called your parents mom/dad or sir/ma'am? I get it's supposed to be respectful. I grew up that way, but it was also unnecessary and extremely forced on us sometimes.
More often than not, it was used in the context of, let's say you call your child, and let's say your child's name is Jerome, and you say Jerome, and Jerome says, what? Most of the times, yes, they would say, when you respond to me, you say, yes, ma'am. And that doesn't mean that it's a red flag or that Jerome is being abused. It means, hey, Jerome, that's not how you talk to me. So I find these ideals really interesting, that if you hear a child responding to their parent as yes, ma'am, or yes, sir, that child is being abused or mistreated in some kind of way. And where is this coming from? How did we get to a place where that's the situation?
I think we got there by listening to young people a bit too much because they're not developed enough to understand the nuances of life yet. And no, I'm not talking about not listening to kids if they're being treated badly and making sure they have an open space to talk. No, I'm talking about allowing them into adult conversations that they should stay out of. I do believe that there needs to be an element of that. And yes, those two things can exist. A child can say, hey, there's certain things that I can't do. You know, I can't just say what to my mom. Talk to other grown adults that way. And you have to teach them that there's a way life works. And you will be treated better because of it. Because that same bad attitude and very defiant disposition will keep you from achieving things that you believe that you deserve in this life. What do I mean by that? You go out here and raise up these young people as modern parents or a single mother or maybe even a single father, which is less likely, who may not understand this. You go out here and raise these kids who are highly entitled, highly disrespectful, and they'll go everywhere and wonder, why does no one like me? Why am I not likable? They don't understand that you have to be likable, that respect is earned, that people don't want to be around people who aren't respectful. And then they turn into perpetual victims for the rest of their lives, thinking the world owes them things and they don't have to carry themselves a particular type of way.
And also, I'm assuming he means by authority on this one that they're not the police. So why would you be saying yes, ma'am, or yes, sir to them? They're not authority in
This is
that
crazy.
sense of the word. But for me, my parents are authority. That doesn't mean that they didn't allow me to make decisions or voice my opinion or do anything like that, because my mother actually did. My father was deceased. And I still said yes, ma'am. Now, I have a sister. My oldest sister is 79. And I still say yes, ma'am, to her. She doesn't force me to do it. She doesn't abuse me. In fact, she's never even spanked me. So, yeah. Is saying yes, ma'am, yes, sir, or no, ma'am, no, sir, just using ma'am and sir, a sign of abuse? Is it a sign of respect, or is it something people say just because they're forced to say it?
Thank you to this wonderful, intelligent lady. I disagree with anyone who calls that abuse. I think it's insane.
I don't care. Take it how you want to take it. But I am currently 14 weeks pregnant. And when my child gets older, I will not be raising my child for them to say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. No, because who are you?
I mean, of all the things to be upset about, that's what you pick. I mean, to a single mother. Priorities be all in the black community, bro. CIA one, FBI one. But if you go to her comments and you look at all the women in there that, have something to say about it, there's a direct correlation between what they look like, how they're living, and their agreements upon that statement there. Now, I do think it's a, Southern versus Northern thing. I do think down South, that's just like the standard. But what is Black people's issue with just structure, authority, just, you know what I'm saying, like respect? Like, what is this fake rebellious spirit against, like, just wanting to be against the grain. Because I do notice, like, of course it doesn't automatically mean your kids are going to be good and that respect people just because they say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, whatever. But it's like, y'all don't want kids to say yes sir, no sir, whatever. Y'all don't want y'all kids to y'all be letting y'all kids call people by their first name. And it's just like, there's a correlation between, like, setting boundaries and, like, that clear defining separation between adult and child. I feel like y'all parents told y'all stay in a child place and y'all took that shit to heart, and, like, now y'all just rebel against that statement. But you can't sit here and say that there's no correlation between y'all not putting a separation between y'all's children and adults, and y'all being buddy pals with y'all kids, and how these kids go out and act around other adults and authoritative figures.
I agree with that. It's really uncomfortable, man, because it really stands out. It really stands out when there's a disrespectful kid who just doesn't know, because the nuances are very, very small sometimes. Could be something very, very small. You know, it could be the way you hand something to an adult. And maybe this was because I was raised up also in an African home. But you can't just go, I couldn't just go to my dad and just, like, toss something at him for him to catch. That in itself would equal a stern rebuke. And if I don't hear the rebuke, followed by something that could be worse, right? Like the disrespect of the, and just the way you hand something off, or the responses, like there's the little things. They're little things. And when you see it happening, I don't get how you could see that that's your kid being disrespectful and you just think, whatever.
Doesn't mean, like, kids that do say or respect that boundary between adults and children are automatically angel children. But when I was growing up, there were things that I just didn't do around grown people, like my grandparents. There were things I didn't do, didn't say. There was a level of respect for them, or just elders or adults, period. We would do our shit where, you know what I'm saying, where the kids was at, you know what I'm saying? And then y'all get on here all the time and talk about the difference between, like, people kids and our kids. But y'all, like, they be the ones where they kids walking around, yeah, okay, sure. Well, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, 9 times out of 10, it's usually reflective somewhere on how that child behaves to their parents, authoritative figures, and around that house.
I think regardless of, because you're talking about other race kids there, white kids, I think this issue transcends race. A lot of kids today, regardless of race, are just a little bit more disrespectful towards adults.
Like, she ain't talking about how she gonna, try to, teach her child to be literate, how to read, proper grammar, math. She worried about her kid, teaching her kid how to say yes, sir, and how not to say yes, sir, no, sir.
In fact, I'll even go a step further and say, like, if I look at the white kids, the white friends I've had in my life, they're the most disrespectful to their parents, actually. Shut up, mom. Top comment here says it's called manners. Here's somebody else who says, I call kids sir and ma'am. Here's somebody else who says, then complain that they don't have a village. That's a fact. How could you have a village of people who are ready to be disrespected at every moment of directing somebody or helping somebody out? Somebody else who says, when did being polite become a bad thing? Listen, as always, I appreciate you guys checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pod. Leave your thoughts and comments down below. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.